Now that we have explored the concept of international security relations and reviewed the various international relations theories that help us understand global affairs, let's now turn to some of the various international security challenges we face today. Of course, issues of war and peace are still significantly important in today's global community. Violent conflict and human insecurity remain challenges in many places around the world. Conflict in the Middle East, for example, continues to dominate much of our time and garner much of our attention. Whether we are talking about the decades-long conflict between Israel and Palestine or the recent civil war in Syria, violence in the Middle East continues to be challenging for many around the world. Not only are those living in the region affected by violence, instability, and insecurity, but those on the edges of the region are affected by human displacement, and those engaged in relations with the region are often perplexed at how to respond and engage in order to end the fighting. Despite many, many years of engagement in Israel, solutions to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict remain elusive. And despite being bombarded with horrific images of civil war in Syria, the global community has been ineffective in stopping the bloodshed. Without a doubt, instability and war in the Middle East continues to be a significant global security challenge today. In addition to global violence and conflict, another global security challenge is the spread of weapons of mass destruction. Since 1968 and the signing of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, governments have been trying to prevent access to nuclear weapons. After the NPT, a number of other arms control treaties were developed to limit access to weapons of mass destruction, as well as the means to deliver them. But since the end of the Cold War, there has been a growing concern about open borders, growing trade, enhanced conflict, and the possibility of access to nuclear, chemical, and biological weapons. Several states, such as India, Pakistan, and North Korea, have gained nuclear weapons capability in the post-Cold War period, and others, such as Iran, for example, are suggesting that they will as well. The protection and control of weapons of mass destruction remains a primary security challenge today. Finally, a significant global security challenge today is international terrorism. Of course, this relates to access of weapons of mass destruction, as terrorist actors may also seek access to such weaponry. But ultimately, terrorist actors and organizations may often have very different objectives and may use very different methods. What terrorists do have in common is that they target non-military, civilian-oriented targets to create fear and promote a certain cause. Terrorists by nature are difficult to track and expose. They are quite adept at using modern technology to communicate and recruit members, and they often exploit failed states to develop safe havens for operation. Due to growing concerns about international terrorist activities, counterterrorism policies often dominate foreign policy discussions and certainly motivate policymakers to remain ever vigilant. Although conflict in the Middle East, the spread of weapons of mass destruction, and concerns about terrorism are regularly cited as primary global security challenges, they certainly aren't the only ones. Issues such as organized crime, illicit trafficking, environmental degradation, and global health epidemics are also of concern to many. But what do you think? From your perspective, what is the most concerning global security challenge we face today? Tell us what you think.